The cold silence of deep space stretched endlessly around the alien patrol fleet. Stars shimmered like frozen sparks scattered over a black ocean. The lead ship, Varkon 7, moved slowly through the void, its engines humming with a low metallic echo. Inside, the crew sat in quiet routine, watching screens filled with empty signals. Patrols were always the same: long hours, no activity, and the constant hum of the ship's life support. Captain Raytor stood near the main observation window, his scaled hands folded behind his back. His eyes glowed a dull amber, reflecting the soft blue lights of the control room. He hated this part of the galaxy, too quiet, too still, and too far from home. "Report," he said without turning. "Nothing, Captain," replied Officer Dren from the scanner desk. "No ships. No transmissions. Just static." Raytor gave a small nod. "Continue monitoring. We'll complete this sector in 2 cycles." The crew went back to their tasks, unaware that something far away had already noticed them. Minutes passed like hours. The monotony pressed on everyone's nerves until, suddenly, a faint beep broke the silence. Dren's eyes widened as a new blip appeared on the scanner screen, small at first, then growing fast. "Captain, I'm picking up something." Raytor turned sharply. "Define something, officer." Dren's fingers moved quickly over the console. "Unidentified mass approaching from Quadrant 7. No ID code. Distance, 70,000 clicks and closing." The captain walked closer. The screen showed a single red mark against the grid of stars. He frowned. "Could be debris," he said. Dren shook his head. "No, sir. It's moving in formation speed. Artificial origin confirmed." The word formation made everyone in the control room freeze. Ships traveled in formation, not rocks, not drones. Ships. And that meant someone was out there. Lieutenant Kara, the tactical officer, leaned forward. "Should I arm the shields?" "Not yet," Raytor said, his voice calm but tense. "Let's see what we're dealing with." The crew worked fast, enhancing the signal. The blip divided into smaller marks, not one ship, but many. The pattern was tight and precise, a fleet formation. Then a faint energy signature appeared beside them, old but powerful. The crew exchanged nervous glances. "It's a human signature," Dren whispered. The room fell silent. The air seemed to thicken with fear. Everyone had heard of the humans, the lost warriors from the outer wars, the species that built and destroyed with the same passion. Some said they were extinct. Others said they vanished beyond the dark zones, leaving ruins behind. Raytor's jaw tightened. "Are you sure?" Dren swallowed hard. "Positive, Captain. The energy trace matches ancient Terran drive systems." "There's no mistake." The captain stepped closer to the window. In the distance, faint lights glimmered, white and steady. One by one, they grew brighter, forming a line across the void. It was like watching ghosts rise from the darkness. "Open long-range visual," he ordered. The main screen flickered to life, filled with static and distortion. Then slowly the shapes became clear, enormous ships with strange designs, sharp edges and glowing blue engines. The human fleet moved in silence, their formation perfect and cold. No one spoke. Raytor felt a chill crawl through his spine. So, the stories were true. Before he could say more, the ship's internal lights flickered. A low hum ran through the floor. The scanner beeped wildly, then froze. Dren hit the console. "System glitch!" Trying to reset, the lights went out. Total darkness swallowed the bridge. Only the emergency lights blinked weakly in red. Somewhere deep in the ship, an alarm began to whine, but it cut out almost instantly. The sound of the engines died. The only thing left was the frightened breathing of the crew. "What happened?" Kara whispered. "No impact detected," Dren said, tapping dead screens. "All systems offline. I can't even access the core." The captain's voice broke the silence. "Restart auxiliary power, now." They tried. Nothing responded. The emergency reactor was dead too. The only light came from the faint glow of stars outside the window. Raytor looked again. The human ships were still there, unmoving, silent, almost patient. Their engines glowed brighter now, as if they were watching. Could they have done this? Kara asked, voice shaking. Dren hesitated. "I don't know. But our systems failed right after they appeared." The captain gritted his teeth. Maybe it's a coincidence. But deep down, he didn't believe it. He felt something strange. Not an attack, not a weapon, but a quiet dominance. As if the humans didn't need to fire. They only needed to arrive. Raytor walked toward the main console, gripping the rail. Signal the other patrols. No response, Dreen said. Comms are dead. The ship drifted aimlessly now, powerless in the endless dark. One by one, small maintenance lights flickered back for a moment, showing the worried faces of the crew. Everyone looked at their captain, waiting for an order, a plan, anything. Then something moved on the screen. The largest human ship shifted slightly. A soft pulse of blue light rippled across its hull, spreading through the fleet. It wasn't a weapon discharge. It looked more like a signal. The alien crew watched in silence as every human ship mirrored the light, one after another, until the entire Armada glowed with eerie blue halos, and then nothing. The alien ship's control room went black again. Every system shut down at once. Consoles died. Lights faded. Even the emergency oxygen warning went dark. Raytor's last word before the total silence was a whisper. By the stars. What have we found? The ship drifted quietly through space, a ghost among stars, while the human fleet waited in perfect silence, as if deciding what to do next. Darkness hung inside the alien ship like a living thing. The control room was silent except for the sound of shallow breathing. Every screen was dead, every light gone. The air felt heavy, cold, and almost alive. Captain Raytor stood still, his eyes slowly adjusting to the dim red glow of backup lights that finally blinked to life. The glow made everyone's faces look pale and frightened. "Status report," he said, his voice echoing through the tense silence. No one answered at first. Then Officer Dren spoke, his voice shaking. "Main systems are unresponsive. Power core is offline. I can't reach engineering." Raytor moved toward him. "Try again." "I've tried, Captain." "Internal comms are dead." Kara, the tactical officer, slammed her console. "Weapons control isn't responding. The ship is blind and unarmed." The captain's heart pounded. This had never happened before. Not once in all his years of service. "Bring up emergency power manually," he ordered. 2 crew members rushed out to do it, their footsteps echoing down the dark corridor. The others waited in silence. The sound of metal creaking under the ship's weight filled the room like whispers in the dark. Outside, the stars shimmered through the viewing glass, cold and uncaring. The human ship still floated in formation, silent, motionless, watching. Raytor gritted his teeth. "What are they waiting for?" No one dared to answer. Minutes passed. Then a low rumble shivered through the deck. Lights flickered again. For a heartbeat, the bridge came alive. Data screens flashing random symbols, alarms half beeping, and then darkness once more. A second later, something exploded deep below the deck. The floor shook. A cloud of smoke drifted through the corridor. Kara jumped to her feet. "Engineering just blew something. We've got internal damage." Raytor turned toward Dren. "Send a repair team. I can't even open the bay doors." Dren yelled. "All mechanical locks are frozen." The captain's jaw tightened. "We can't sit and die here. I want manual override. Cut through the panels if you have to." Before they could move, the ship shuddered again. Not from an explosion this time, but from an external wave. Every metal surface vibrated as if struck by invisible force. The stars outside warped for a moment, bending unnaturally. What was that? Kara gasped. Dren scanned through flickering diagnostics. Some kind of pulse. No heat, no radiation, just energy interference. It came from the human fleet. Raytor stared at the window. The human ships were still there, their engines glowing faint blue. The captain clenched his fists. "They're doing this. They're toying with us." Dren looked terrified. "But Captain, it's not an attack. There's no weapon signature. It's like they're testing something." The ship went quiet again, except for the faint hum of static in the air. Then, without warning, one of the bridge doors hissed open, halfway. Smoke poured out, and a figure stumbled in, coughing hard. It was one of the engineers. His uniform was torn, and his hands were covered in black dust. "Report." Raytor barked. The engineer tried to speak. "Power relay exploded. The whole section's gone. We lost 5 crew." "Gone, Captain." A cold silence spread through the room. The captain's throat tightened, but he stayed firm. "Seal the section. Make sure no fire spreads." The engineer nodded weakly and sank to the floor. The others looked pale. The word "gone" echoed in their minds. 5 crew members lost, just like that, and no one even knew how. Kara whispered, "We need to leave." "If they can do this without firing, what happens next?" Raytor turned toward her sharply. "We don't run from the unknown." "But, Captain." Dren said softly. What if the unknown doesn't care? The words hung heavy. For the first time, Raytor felt fear crawl up his spine. Not the fear of death, but of something he couldn't understand. Something that didn't act like any enemy he'd faced before. Then the scanner panel blinked once, faintly, like a dying heartbeat. Everyone turned toward it. It's back, Dren shouted, the long-range scanners showing movement. Human fleet. The captain asked quickly. Yes, sir. But it's strange. Only one ship is moving now, the biggest one. The bridge lights flickered as the data struggled to process. The image appeared in lines and static. The massive human warship drifting closer, its engines glowing with cold blue fire. The alien crew watched in awe as the ship's surface shimmered like liquid metal. Patterns of light rippled across it, forming symbols they couldn't understand. Raytor's voice was quiet. What are they doing? No one knew. Suddenly the comm system came to life for the first time since the blackout. A deep static hiss filled the speakers, followed by a strange hum, almost like a heartbeat. Then came a sound that made everyone freeze. A human voice, distorted but clear. Do not resist. The room went dead silent. Every crew member stared at the speaker, wide-eyed. The voice was calm, emotionless, yet powerful. It didn't sound like a threat. It sounded like a warning. Raytor's claws gripped the edge of the console. Translate that, he ordered. Dren swallowed hard. No need, sir. That was standard Terran language. It means exactly what we think. The lights flickered again. The captain looked around, seeing fear in every face. He opened his mouth to speak, but before he could say anything, the ship's hull groaned, loud and deep. The viewing glass filled with bright white light as something outside charged up. Shields up, Kara shouted instinctively. Shields offline, Dren yelled back. The white light flashed. For a second, everyone thought it was the end. But instead of an explosion, the ship fell still again. The light faded, leaving only the stars. Dren checked his instruments. No damage. None at all. Whatever that was, it didn't hit us. Raytor whispered under his breath. They could have destroyed us. But they didn't. The silence that followed was worse than any battle. The human fleet stayed in position, glowing faintly like watchers in the dark. Kara finally spoke, her voice trembling. Captain, if that was mercy, then what happens when they stop being merciful? No one answered. The ship floated powerless, a fragile speck in the void, under the silent gaze of the human armada. The alien ship drifted quietly through space, like a wounded animal hiding from a silent hunter. Inside the control room, the crew sat frozen, staring at the last message on the dark screen. Do not resist. Those words kept echoing in their minds, soft yet heavy, like the voice of something that didn't need to shout to show power. Captain Raytor stood still for a long time. The faint red emergency lights made his sharp features look carved in stone. Finally he spoke, his voice low but steady. Status, he said. Dren shook his head. No change, Captain. Main power still offline. Communication, weak signal only. The fleet remained silent. Raytor turned toward the viewing glass. The human ships were still there, a wall of glowing blue engines stretching across the darkness. They were not moving closer. They were simply watching. What are they doing? Whispered Kara. Nobody answered. Then a faint crackle broke through the static on one of the secondary consoles. A small screen blinked to life, showing random lines of green code. The alien analyst, a young officer named Lyra, leaned forward. Wait, this console shouldn't be running. It's connected to the drone database. Maybe there's still a data feed. Get whatever you can, Raytor ordered. We need answers. Lyra's hands moved quickly. She accessed the remaining fragments from the last scouting drone they'd sent before the blackout. The drone's memory was half corrupted, filled with strange noise, but buried inside was something. A series of repeated pulses, uneven and messy. Captain, she said slowly, look at this. The code inside the memory banks isn't alien. It's something else. Explain, Raytor said. It's not one of ours, Lyra said. It's built from old programming structures. Outdated, unrefined, yet efficient. I've never seen anything like it, Dren frowned. Outdated? You mean primitive? Lyra nodded. Yes, but it works. Whoever wrote this didn't use advanced encryption or logic layers. It's simple, raw, but it adapts. Raytor leaned closer. Run a signature check. The computer struggled for a few seconds, lines of alien text flickering across the damaged screen. Then it froze and displayed two words in translation. Terran Protocol. Kara's eyes widened. That means human. The room went silent again. Every officer looked at one another, disbelief on their faces. So it's confirmed, Raytor said quietly. They did this. Lyra kept typing. Yes, but Captain, this isn't a weapon. It's a signal, something designed to enter systems and rewrite access paths. It disables high-tech functions by replacing them with basic ones. Dren blinked. But that's impossible. Why would anyone use basic code against our advanced systems? Lyra smiled faintly, almost in awe. Because it's too simple to detect. Our firewalls are designed to fight complex algorithms. But this is like trying to stop a storm with a net. It just passes through. Raytor felt a chill. You're telling me humans shut down our ship with simple code? Yes, Lyra said. They used less technology to beat more. Kara clenched her fists. That's madness. No, Raytor corrected her. That's strategy. For a moment, no one spoke. The hum of dying machines filled the air. Somewhere deep inside the ship, a panel sparked faintly, and smoke curled from the ceiling. The atmosphere smelled like metal and fear. Dren broke the silence. Captain, if they can reach our systems this easily, they could wipe our fleet completely. Raytor nodded slowly. Unless they don't want to. The thought hung heavy in the air. If the humans wanted destruction, they could have done it already. But instead, they'd frozen the ship, left it alive, but helpless. Like a lesson, like a warning, Lyra suddenly gasped. Captain! The code is changing, Raytor turned sharply. Explain. The signal, it's not just in our system anymore. It's spreading through our internal network. But it's not damaging anything now. It's leaving messages. What kind of messages? She zoomed in on the data screen. Strange shapes formed from binary code, circles, arrows, and lines connecting them. I think it's a map, Lyra said softly. Kara frowned. A map to what? Lyra looked up, eyes wide. To them. They're showing us their fleet's exact formation. Raytor stared at the glowing pattern. It was almost as if the humans were inviting them to look closer, to understand, or maybe to see how small they really were. Why would they show us this? Dren asked, confused. It makes no sense. Raytor's voice was quiet but cold. Maybe it's not meant to make sense to us. Maybe it's meant to remind us what we don't understand. As he spoke, the main viewing glass flickered. Static rippled across it, then cleared for a moment. A human ship filled the screen, massive, sleek, and shining like liquid metal. And then a voice came through the speakers again. Calm, clear, unmistakably human. You are in violation of restricted space, it said. You have been neutralized. Leave immediately, the voice faded. The message repeated twice. Then the screen went dark. The crew sat frozen. Kara whispered, restricted space? But this region was empty. No colonies, no stations. Not anymore, Raytor said grimly. They've returned. Lyra's console beeped again. Captain, new signal from their flagship. It's short. Just one word. Raytor turned. Translate. Lyra's eyes darted across the lines of code. Then she whispered, the word is stop. The sound of that single word made everyone shiver. It wasn't shouted. It wasn't angry. It was final, like a command from something that had already decided the outcome. Raytor stood silently, staring at the dark screen where the human ship had been moments ago. His mind raced through the possibilities. Were they defending themselves or something greater? What kind of species used silence as their weapon? The captain finally spoke, his voice rough and quiet. Prepare a probe. If they want us to stop, we'll find out why. But deep down, he already knew the truth. The humans hadn't just told them to stop. They had made them stop. Outside, the stars gleamed cold and distant, while the human armada hovered like gods of the void, silent and unbroken. The word stop lingered in the air long after the sound faded. No one spoke. The ship was quiet except for the faint hum of backup power trying to keep the lights alive. The crew looked at each other, unsure whether to feel fear, relief, or humiliation. Captain Raytor stared at the dark viewing screen where the human fleet had vanished. His mind replayed the voice again and again, calm, steady, without threat. A single word, yet filled with command. It was not an order shouted by a conqueror. It was something deeper, like a warning. Are we receiving any more transmissions? Raytor asked. Lyra checked her screens. Negative, Captain. The human signal is gone. Their ships are holding position, but they've gone silent. Dren slammed his fist on the console. This makes no sense. They could have destroyed us easily. Why tell us to stop and then just wait? Raytor didn't answer right away. He walked slowly to the center of the bridge, his boots echoing on the metal floor. Because they didn't need to destroy us, he finally said. They already control everything, but including our fear. The crew shifted uneasily. Kara crossed her arms. Maybe it's a trick. Maybe they're studying how we react. Maybe, the captain replied. But that's what makes it worse. Lyra looked up from her console. Captain, I managed to decode more fragments from the message data. It's strange. I found something hidden beneath the signal. Raytor turned sharply. Show me. She pressed a few keys, and the holographic projector flickered. A faint pattern of dots and lines appeared. Simple, almost childish. Yet when the pattern rotated, it formed a symbol. A blue circle with 3 curved lines through it. Raytor's eyes widened slightly. I've seen that before. Kara frowned. Where? Old records, the captain said quietly. From before our expansion era. Our ancestors once encountered humans near the rim systems. That symbol was found on a wrecked probe, a human probe. Its purpose was exploration, not war. Lyra blinked. Exploration, but their fleet here isn't peaceful. Maybe peace doesn't look peaceful anymore. Raytor muttered. The bridge fell silent again. Outside, the alien ship floated like a ghost in the cold sea of stars. Then slowly, something began to move in the distance. A single human vessel detached from the larger Armada. It moved toward them, slow, deliberate, glowing faintly with blue light. Kara gasped. Captain, they're approaching! Hold your positions, Raytor said firmly. No weapons, no signals. Let's see what they want. The ship drew closer until its shape filled the entire screen. Sleek, silver, perfectly silent. Then a light shone from its front, not a weapon, but a beam of soft white that scanned across the alien vessel. Lyra checked her sensors. No damage, it's just light. Scanning us? Maybe, Raytor said. Or maybe it's something else. Suddenly every console flickered again, but this time, not with chaos. The alien systems began to restore themselves. One by one, the power lines reconnected, navigation came online, and the flickering lights turned steady green. They're repairing our systems. Dren shouted in disbelief. Raytor narrowed his eyes. No, they're allowing us to repair. They're showing us mercy. The thought unsettled everyone. Mercy was not something the alien patrols were used to. Not from enemies, not from humans. It felt humiliating, almost painful. As the power returned, new data streamed onto Lyra's console. Captain, I'm getting an open message. It's text only. Read it, Raytor ordered. Her voice trembled slightly as she read aloud. This region is no longer empty. Do not cross again. You are being watched, not by us, but by what follows. The bridge went silent. Dren frowned. What follows? What does that mean? Lyra's voice was quiet. Maybe they're warning us about something else. Raytor looked out at the human ship, which now drifted backward, rejoining its formation. Or maybe they're warning us about themselves. Kara shook her head. Captain, this is madness. Why would they warn us after disabling our fleet? Because, Raytor said slowly, they didn't disable us for war. They disabled us to protect something, or someone. The silence that followed was heavier than before. Every mind on that ship tried to make sense of what had just happened. The humans, once thought to be savages, had shown discipline, power, and restraint. Captain, Lyra whispered, do you think they fear us? Raytor's lips tightened into a thin line. No, he said softly. They fear what they might become if they don't stop us. The thought sent a cold shiver through the crew. For the first time, they began to see humans not as primitive monsters, but as something different. A species that learned from its wars and now guarded the stars like sentinels of some forgotten promise. Outside, the human fleet turned slowly. Engines flared, and one by one, the massive ships disappeared into faster-than-light trails, silent, efficient, vanishing into the dark. Only one ship remained behind for a moment longer, facing the alien vessel. It sent one final message, a pulse of blue light across the void. When decoded, it translated to 3 words, "Don't come back." Raytor watched the light fade into darkness. His crew waited for orders, but the captain didn't speak. He just stared at the empty stars where the humans had been. and whispered to himself. They told us to stop. And maybe, for once, we should listen. The alien vessel floated alone, the hum of restored systems the only sound in the void. Yet beneath that calm, everyone aboard knew the truth. Something far greater was happening. The humans hadn't attacked them. They had warned them. And that was far more terrifying, because warnings only come before something worse. The alien ship floated in the black sea of stars, silent and alone. Power was back, systems were running, and life support hummed gently. Yet no one felt safe. The humans had gone, leaving behind only that one haunting message. You are being watched, not by us, but by what follows. Captain Raytor stood before the main screen, hands locked behind his back. His reflection stared back at him, tired eyes, heavy with questions. Report, he said quietly. Lyra scanned the console. All systems are operational again, Captain, but something strange is happening in our data banks. Dren looked over. Strange how? Lyra turned the screen toward them. A symbol pulsed faintly, the same blue circle with 3 curved lines, the human mark. But now it glowed brighter, spreading lines across their ship's network like veins of light. Kara frowned. It's inside our system. How? I thought the humans restored control. They did, Lyra said, her voice uncertain. But they also left something behind. It's like a signature, or a lock. Raytor's jaw tightened. Can it harm us? I don't think so, she replied. It doesn't act like a virus. It's more like it's watching. The word watching sent a chill across the bridge. Every sound suddenly felt louder. The hum of power, the faint crackle of comms. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Captain, Dren muttered, what if this is what they meant by what follows? Maybe it's this thing, this code. Raytor shook his head slowly. No, the humans were not afraid of this. Their warning wasn't about a signal. It was about something else. He tapped the console, pulling up the logs from before the blackout. Every second of data had been scrambled by the human interference, but one fragment remained. A faint visual feed from the moment before the patrol system had failed. The crew gathered around as the image flickered to life. Stars. Static. Then, for a fraction of a second, something huge moved across the void. Too fast. Too dark. Too vast to be a ship. What was that? Kara whispered. Lyra froze the frame, zooming in. The outline became visible. Not solid, but shadowy, like a living shape made of smoke and light. It's not metal, she said. It doesn't reflect radar, it's absorbing it. Dren's voice dropped. That's impossible. Raytor's eyes narrowed. That's what follows. The words hung in the air like a curse. Kara's voice trembled. You mean the humans weren't warning us about themselves? But about that thing? Raytor nodded slowly. Exactly. They weren't defending territory. They were defending the galaxy. A heavy silence settled over the crew. None of them dared to breathe too loudly. For the first time, they realized how small they were. Not just as a patrol, but as a species. They had thought themselves hunters in the dark, but now they felt like prey. Captain, Lyra said suddenly, the signal, it's changing. That human mark, it's reacting. Everyone turned. The glowing blue symbol was flickering rapidly now, pulsing faster and faster. Then, without warning, the ship's sensors came alive. A surge of readings filled the screens. Something's approaching. Dren shouted. Bearing 082. It's huge. Can you identify it? Raytor demanded. Lyra's hands shook as she worked the controls. No, Captain, it's beyond our scanner range. I can't get a shape. It's like it's not really there. Raytor took a deep breath. All hands to alert. No weapons. Passive scan only. The alien crew moved quickly, their fear mixing with discipline. The lights dimmed to red. The hum of engines steadied, and then silence again. Outside, the stars seemed to stretch, bend, and fade. Something vast passed between them, invisible but heavy, like a gravity wave dragging the universe with it. Kara's voice cracked. Is that thing following the humans or us? Raytor stared at the screen. It doesn't matter, he said quietly. Either way, we're too close. The shape moved again, and for a second they saw it, not through light, but through distortion. A colossal presence that warped the very fabric of space. Its edges shimmered, its form shifting like smoke underwater. Then, just as quickly it vanished. Lyra exhaled shakily. It's gone. Raytor turned toward her. No, it just doesn't want to be seen. Dren clenched his jaw.
We should warn Command.
They need to know what's out here. Raytor nodded. Send a short burst to home fleet. Encrypted. Use manual relay. Do not use standard channels. Lyra began typing, but the system flickered again. The blue human mark flared once, and then, to their shock, words appeared across her screen. Don't send signals. It can hear you. The bridge froze. Captain, Lyra whispered. They're still watching us. Raytor's voice was low. And they're still protecting us. The crew looked out at the stars, now feeling less like explorers and more like trespassers in a place they didn't understand. Somewhere far ahead, the humans were moving, silent and vigilant, holding a line against something ancient and unseen. What follows? Kara murmured. Maybe it's been hunting them for centuries. Raytor nodded slowly. And now it's noticed us. The camera feed dimmed, leaving only the reflection of frightened faces in the glass. Outside, the void was still, but deep within it, something moved again, just beyond sight. The part ends with the alien ship drifting quietly, a single blue light pulsing faintly across its hull. The human mark, watching, warning, waiting. The alien ship drifted in darkness, its engines quiet, its crew whispering as if afraid to wake something unseen. The last human message still glowed faintly on the monitor. Don't send signals. It can hear you, no one moved. Even the hum of machinery felt louder than it should. Captain Raytor stood by the viewing screen, staring at the endless black beyond. He spoke softly. If they warned us not to send signals, then the thing, whatever it is, listens through the stars. Lyra nodded weakly. Captain, I've sealed the communication ports. All outgoing transmissions are cut. But she hesitated. Something is still running. The human code inside our system, it's active again. Raytor turned sharply. Show me. On her screen, the glowing blue mark pulsed in rhythm. Then strange letters appeared, alien symbols mixed with human code. It began translating itself automatically. Words formed on the display. It hunts signals. It follows thought. Hide your light. Kara's face paled. Hide your light? What does that mean? Raytor looked out the window, his eyes fixed on the faint glow of a nearby nebula. It means we're shining too bright. Every ship leaves a trace, a beacon in the dark. And something out there follows those traces. Dren cursed under his breath. We came to patrol empty space. Now we've become bait. A low tremor passed through the deck. The lights flickered once. Everyone froze. Report. Raytor barked. Lyra's hands moved fast across the console. It's not a system fault, Captain. That was external. A wave, some kind of gravitational pulse. It came from behind us. Visual! The viewing screen flashed to life. For a moment, only stars. Then the stars bent, as if something enormous was passing between them. Something invisible. Something that devoured light. The distortion rippled across space like a shadow stretching its limbs. Dren whispered, It's following us. The captain clenched his fists. Engines, minimal power. Reverse course, quietly. The ship began to drift backward, almost weightless. They cut their thrusters to avoid noise, relying only on momentum. The stars shifted slowly as they pulled away from the distortion, but the shadow moved too. It turned, like an eye opening in the dark. Lyra gasped. It's tracking us without sensors! How is that possible? Maybe it doesn't see, Raytor said. Maybe it feels life. Suddenly, the blue human symbol on the screen blinked rapidly like a heartbeat. Then new text appeared beneath it. If it sees you, don't run. Stay still, Dren stared. How can we stay still? We're a ship in open space. But Raytor understood. Turn off everything. Life support, lights, power, everything except one oxygen line. Kara hesitated. Sir, that's suicide. Do it, he ordered. Or we won't live long enough to suffocate. Lyra's fingers trembled as she shut down the systems one by one. The bridge darkened. The hum of engines died. Even the screens went black, leaving only the faint red emergency glow. Silence filled the air, thick and heavy. Outside, the void moved. A massive shape drifted by, blotting out the stars completely. It wasn't metal or flesh. It was like smoke woven from gravity itself. Every few seconds, a pulse of deep vibration rolled through the hull, like the sound of an ancient heartbeat. No one breathed. It passed so close that frost formed on the inside of the windows. The hull creaked under invisible pressure. Then nothing. The darkness faded. The stars returned. Lyra exhaled shakily. It's gone. Raytor shook his head. No, it just doesn't see us anymore, Kara whispered. Captain, what is that thing?
Where did it come from?
Raytor turned to her, his voice low. It's not alien to this galaxy. It's older, maybe older than light itself. And the humans, they've been fighting it. Lyra frowned. Fighting that? How? It can't be killed. Maybe not, Raytor said, but maybe it can be contained. That's why the humans told us to stop. They're guarding the boundary, keeping this thing trapped between the stars. The bridge went silent again. The thought felt too big, too heavy to hold. The humans, whom they had feared, weren't conquerors. They were wardens, protectors of a prison made of light. Suddenly, a faint signal flickered across Lyra's dark screen, barely a whisper. She looked at the captain. It's not coming from us. It's from the human fleet. They're sending something directly into our system. Open it, Raytor said. The message was short, only 5 words. Leave now. Before it wakes, the crew exchanged looks of panic. Dren jumped to his station.
Captain, we can't stay here.
Raytor nodded. Power up engines. Silent jump, now. The alien ship's engines hummed softly as they prepared the warp drive. The stars stretched into streaks of white as they made the jump, away from the shadow, away from the human fleet, away from whatever was beginning to stir in that dark corner of the galaxy. When they emerged on the other side of space, everyone on the bridge was silent. The shadow was gone, but the feeling wasn't. It clung to them, heavy and cold. Kara looked at the captain. Sir, if the humans are guarding it, how long before it wakes again? Raytor stared at the stars. I don't know. But if it wakes, I don't think anyone, human or alien, will survive. He turned off the last flickering light on the console. The blue human symbol glowed one final time, then faded completely. Outside, the stars burned quietly, beautiful, distant, and full of secrets. But somewhere beyond them, between the light and the dark, something ancient waited, something that follows. The alien ship drifted through deep space, engines humming softly after the silent jump. The stars looked calm again, too calm, as if pretending nothing had happened. But inside the ship no one could rest. The memory of the shadow between stars haunted them all. Captain Raytor sat alone in the command chair. The crew worked quietly, their voices low, afraid that even speaking too loud might wake something in the dark. Status, he said finally. Lyra checked her console. We're clear of the previous sector, Captain. No pursuit, but the human signal. It's still embedded in our system. Dren frowned. I thought we shut that down. Lyra shook her head. It's different now. It's not warning us anymore, it's guiding us. Raytor turned toward her. Guiding? To where? She hesitated, watching the faint blue light pulsing on her screen. It's transmitting coordinates. Deep sector, unmapped space. No colonies, no patrol routes, just empty stars. Kara leaned forward. Empty stars don't send coordinates. Raytor studied the pulsing light. Plot the location, but don't engage yet. The navigation holo flared to life, showing a glowing blue point far across the galaxy, near the region where the human fleet had once vanished decades ago. The records called it the Silent Expanse, a place where ships entered and never returned. Dren looked uneasy. Captain, that's the area of the lost human fleet. Raytor's expression hardened. I remember that story. A full armada vanished there. No survivors. No signals, Kara whispered. Maybe this is their signal. The bridge went silent. The idea was terrifying and fascinating at once. A lost fleet sending a message through time, through shadow. Lyra's console blinked again. Captain, the signal's changing. It's turning into sound. Play it, Raytor ordered. The speakers crackled. At first only static, faint and broken. Then a voice emerged, distorted but still human. This is Fleet Command. To any listening vessels. Containment failing. Do not approach. Repeat. Do not. The message cut off, replaced by a deep rumble that shook the hull. What was that? Dren shouted. Lyra's eyes widened. It's not interference. It's another signal. It's overlapping. The second signal was low, like a growl across the void. It wasn't made by technology. It was alive. Raytor stood. Cut the feed! But the sound kept playing even after the console went dark. It was vibrating through the hull itself, as if space was speaking directly into the ship. Kara clutched her headset. Captain, it's not sound. It's pressure. It's bending the frequency layer. The lights flickered again, and a faint whisper echoed through the bridge. Not through the speakers, but inside their minds. You shouldn't have come back. Lyra gasped and grabbed the edge of her console. That voice? It's human, Rayator turned slowly. No, it's what used to be human. The ship began to tremble. The blue human code on the screen glowed brighter, shifting rapidly into warning patterns. It displayed one clear message. Run. Engage the jump drive. Rayator ordered. Dren slammed the controls, but the drive didn't respond. It's not charging, Captain. Something's draining our power. On the screen, static turned into images, fragments of faces, ships, wreckage. The lost human fleet appeared, drifting, broken, lifeless. But their eyes? Their eyes glowed faintly blue, like the code itself. Lyra whispered, They're not dead. Kara shook her head in disbelief. They became part of it. The images showed the human ships fused with something dark, organic, moving, breathing. The shadow that followed had not destroyed them. It had taken them. Rayator's voice was grim. The lost fleet. It wasn't lost. It was consumed. Suddenly, the blue symbol flared again, and the speakers roared to life with one last human voice. Calm, almost peaceful. If you can hear this, we failed. The shadow learns. It becomes what it devours. Don't find us. Don't save us. Run. Then the message ended. The ship went completely silent. Only the low hum of power remained. Kara covered her mouth. They turned into it. That's what follows. It's not a creature. It's a memory of them. Rayator closed his eyes. A fleet of ghosts, bound to protect a galaxy that forgot them. Lyra looked out the window. Captain, what do we do now? He stared at the stars, cold and endless. We leave. We warn our people, and we never, ever cross that boundary again. But just as he said it, a soft light appeared outside, a flickering beacon far away. The same blue glow as the human ships. Sir, Dren whispered, something's following us. Rayator turned slowly. Through the window, they saw a single light drifting closer, small at first, then larger. A ship, human design, but old, ancient, covered in black scars and blue veins of energy. It moved silently toward them, as if drawn by the living pulse of the alien vessel. Lyra's voice cracked. Captain, it's one of theirs. Rayator didn't answer. His eyes stayed locked on the growing light. The same voice echoed again inside his head, not from speakers, not from comms, but from somewhere far older. We told you to stop. The part ends with the alien ship frozen in place, the blue light reflecting across their terrified faces, as the ghostly human vessel drifts closer, slow, silent, and alive. The bridge was silent. The ghostly human ship drifted closer. Its hull cracked and blackened like burnt stone. Blue light ran through its scars and pulsing, alive like veins of energy. It made no sound. It didn't broadcast a signal, but everyone on the alien vessel could feel it. Captain Rayator stood at the front of the bridge, unmoving. His crew waited for orders, but his eyes were fixed on the dark ship outside. Kara whispered, Is that the lost fleet? Lyra checked her scanner. It's human design, Captain. Very old, but there's no crew, no life signs, and yet it's moving. Dren gritted his teeth. Something's inside controlling it. Rayator's voice was calm but heavy. No, it is alive. The ship stopped a few hundred meters away. Its surface shimmered, and then, to their horror, the human insignia, a broken star inside a circle, began glowing on its hull. Lyra gasped. Captain, it's charging energy. Shields up. Rayator barked. But before the crew could react, a beam of blue light burst from the human ship. It didn't strike them. Instead, it passed through their vessel like a wave. Every console flickered. The alien systems came alive with symbols. Human code mixed with strange, shadowy lines. Then a voice filled the bridge. Calm, human, familiar. This is Commander Vale. Of the 9th Human Fleet, if anyone can hear this. We are not who we were. Everyone froze. Lyra's screen showed the source. The message wasn't being broadcast. It was coming from inside their ship, as if something had merged with their data systems. The voice continued, steady but broken. We held the line. We contained it for centuries, but the shadow learned. It consumed our ships, our minds, our code. It speaks through us now. If you are hearing this, leave. Do not fight it. Do not search for us. The sound faded into static. Then another deeper voice rose, not human anymore. We see you. The lights went dark. For a moment, there was only the sound of breathing. Then a shape appeared on the viewing screen. A reflection. shifting, liquid, enormous. Behind the human ship, the stars vanished again. The shadow was back. Dren's voice cracked. "It's coming." "Captain, quiet," Raytor said. His eyes never left the screen. "It's not attacking." The human ship moved slightly, turning its bow toward the alien vessel, and something inside it shimmered. A field of blue light expanded from its hull, forming a wide circle. The shadow paused, stopped, and recoiled slightly. Lyra blinked. "Captain." "That ship is protecting us," Raytor's voice was low. "It's still fighting." For a few moments, space looked like two storms colliding, blue light against black mist. The human vessel glowed brighter, shaking, pieces breaking apart, but the light held. The shadow screamed, soundless yet deafening, like space itself was tearing. "Captain, we're being pulled into the field." Dren shouted, "Hold course!" Raytor commanded. The alien ship shook violently, caught between gravity waves. Sparks rained from the ceiling. One by one, systems overloaded. Lyra screamed as her console burst with blue static. Through the chaos, the human voice returned, softer now, fading. "It can't be killed, only contained. Tell your world. Humanity still stands." Then the human ship exploded. The blast was silent but bright, flooding the void with pure blue light. The shadow shrieked once, then vanished completely, swallowed by the light and gone. For a moment, there was peace. The alien ship drifted, burned, half dead, but alive. The crew sat in stunned silence. Lyra looked at the fading light outside. "They destroyed themselves." "To save us," Raytor nodded slowly. "No, they saved everyone," Kara whispered. "Captain." "What happens if it comes back?" Raytor looked out at the stars, now calm, endless, and cold. "Then we'll remember what they did. And this time we won't ignore their warning." He turned to Lyra. "Record everything. The message, the light, the coordinates. Send it home, but by relay. No direct signal. Quiet transmission." Lyra nodded and began typing. "Message ready, Captain." Raytor watched the last flickers of blue fade from space. "Send it." The screen dimmed and the ship began its slow retreat. The stars ahead were distant and silent, but somehow different, like the galaxy was holding its breath. In the quiet, the captain spoke again, almost to himself. "They said don't come back." Maybe it wasn't a warning. Maybe it was a plea. No one replied. The crew simply sat there, watching the stars, feeling both fear and gratitude for the strange, powerful beings they once called enemies. Outside, where the human ship had died, a single blue spark floated for a moment longer. Then it faded, leaving only darkness, but deep within that darkness something flickered, faint, slow, waiting. The shadow wasn't gone. It was just sleeping. And somewhere across the void, another human voice whispered, distant, defiant, echoing through the stars, "We're still here."